everybody. It is Wednesday, March 16th, 2016. This is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan, your host, and with me for, again, some reason. Nick, why the hell are you even here? I really don't know why it is I keep inviting you back to be on the show, even though you're a standard co-host at this point in time. So, why? Why? Just give me a reason why.
I honestly don't know. I kind of would rather be sleeping right now. I mean, you woke me up and you're like, hey Nick, get on the show. And I'm like, I guess I have to do it for the fans. And, I have a duty to our fans. I guess that's why.
Why can't you be like me and just take micro naps and then possibly fall over dead one day because you don't sleep?
I mean, I do, but it's usually I just fall over dead at some point and then I resurrect through the power of
The power of
myself.
Christ.
I don't know. Yeah, actually, yes, the power of Christ. The
The
power
pa-
of Christ comes and he's like, no, you can't follow her dead yet. And he's like, get your ass up. I'm like, fine, fine. And then I come on the show and I'm like, hey, because hello everyone. How is everybody doing?
so the power of your non-existent Christ compels you.
Yes, it does.
Well, okay. That's if he compels you, I guess that's good enough reason. See, I figured it was because you are a robot, and robots don't actually need to sleep.
No, I definitely need sleep. That is something that I do need. I can assure everyone.
Well, you can assure me, but
Also, I'm not a robot.
Nick, we have
Not
established
a
you
robot.
as being a robot at this point in time.
No, you keep trying to, but you're, I'm not a robot, so.
Well, I think that our fans are the ones to decide, and everyone else in the world seems to think you're a robot. But moving on away from the impending doom of Nickbot, Rubio-bot actually stepped down yesterday, by the way, and I want to get into talking about that. But first, I do want to address the fact that yesterday was the Ides of March, and tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, so we're in that uh, wonderful time span where between where you have come together as a group to stab someone that you dislike, and then the point where you drink into unconsciousness. Yeah.
I'm not sure if those two things are mutually exclusive.
What, murder and alcohol?
Yeah, I mean, can't we just mix the holidays together?
You mean alcoholism and Christmas time, where you're driving on the sidewalk and hitting people with your car?
Or, well, what I was thinking is we could stab people, but instead of bleeding red, they would bleed green.
So people are Klingons now. No, no, wait. I'm sorry. Klingons have pink blood. Vulcans have green blood. So we're Vulcans now. Okay.
I mean, that wouldn't be such a bad thing.
To have green blood or be a Vulcan. Because if you're a Vulcan, you only get to have sex every 7 years. I just want to point that out.
But it's pretty damn good sex, I hear, so.
Well, I mean, you go into a murderous rage and you try to kill everyone around you. If you don't get sex, and then at that one time, it's kind of one of those, I'm going to fuck you or I'm going to get killed. That like it's basically sex or death. It's like two things during Pon Far are certain, and one of them is not taxes; it's sex or death. It's like you know kind of strange, I
So
guess. I
it's,
don't know.
well,
Vulcans are weird.
I mean, isn't that just St. Patrick's Day, though?
Um, Given that I've never actually had sex on St. Patrick's Day, no.
Well, maybe you're just doing it wrong.
I've also conveniently never actually drank on St. Patrick's Day.
See, this is why you're doing it wrong. You're not embracing the Vulcan tradition of St. Patrick's Day.
No, it's true. I was raised in the Irish tradition of St. Patrick's Day, although I'm not Catholic, and I'm certainly not Protestant. But I typically eat corned beef and cabbage and potatoes, and you know,
I like how you're more reluctant to be Protestant than Catholic.
I'm quite reluctant to be both. But here's a little bit of Irish history for those of you who
Well,
don't.
well,
No, shut
well
up, shut up, shut up.
I,
I want to give. I like seriously. I want to give some
no,
Irish
no, no.
history here
Go ahead.
because this is important.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was growing up. I was not Irish Catholic. Everyone thinks of Irish as being Catholic, even the ones who are not actually from Ireland. No, a large portion of Irish are actually Presbyterian. They're Protestant, they're Presbyterian. Okay. Now, Presbyterianism has been described as Catholic light, and it kind of is. About really and truly, the only difference is that we don't. I mean, Presbyterians don't have uh, idol worship, which is basically having all the saints. They don't do that. It's other than that, it's kind of the same thing. There's no 47 statues around of Mary and every other saint you can imagine. Uh, typically they're acknowledged, but they're not part of it. Okay. But I was raised in a specific denomination of Presbyterianism, which is Cumberland Presbyterian, which is kind of an even lighter version of normal Presbyterianism, and it's weird. Um, it's basically the difference between uh, Ireland and Northern Ireland. You're all one people. You just divided yourself into these little camps, and you kind of hate one another. So like the Protestant Irish pretty much hate the Catholic Irish, and everyone hates the Irish in general because why not?
I really don't know why people hate the Irish so much. They're
Because they're
fine people.
loud, because they're obnoxious, and for some pretty definitive reasons, they hate everybody else. I mean, I
I mean,
generally
I understand
generally
why
I
they
think
hate
generally
everybody.
I think that if England walked into our country right now and started kicking us around and telling us that we can and cannot do certain things, we would probably hate England. So I'm sorry, every other group who has claimed oppression for a very long time. You might be close to it, but the Irish were oppressed for a little less uh, than the Scots were, like length of time. Except the Irish actually were oppressed even more because um, Scotland yielded and gave in to England and became their bitch, and Ireland, for the entire time it was oppressed by British rule, is like fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, until Great Britain tried to actually kill all the Irish people by starving them to death, and that's where you had the potato famine and everything else, and that's actually where uh, the IRA starts. The Irish Republican Army. That's where that starts. Is somewhere around there. And interesting side note, very very interesting side note here. If you're familiar at all with American Civil War history, you know that there was an Irish brigade in the Army of the Potomac. There was one in the Army of Northern Virginia. In fact, nearly every major army, North and South, actually had a contingent of Irish troops. And the reason is they were actually all fighting the exact same war. The Irish troops were the ones who most commonly would break ranks and would actually go shake hands and exchange gifts with everyone, and they would also exchange letters because Thomas Francis Meagher, the leader of the Army of the Potomac's Irish Brigade, had secretly orchestrated all of the shit. Okay, what was happening was Meagher was actually uh, essentially excommunicated from his faith, and he was banished from Ireland and England, and he was sent to Australia. he escaped and came here and actually organized every Irish so what basically every Irish immigrant that he could get his hands on or at least speak to in some way. And when the Civil War broke out, the idea was, hey, look at this, we'll just kind of, pick a side and we'll be on the side and then we'll get training and through that training we'll be able to go back to Ireland. And the idea was to ship trained soldiers who had received their training here in the United States in our Civil War and ship weapons and equipment back and fuck over England. Okay. Now I'm not making that up. I know that sounds weird, but there was actually a shadow war going on, and it was an insurrection against England, and it actually did pay off to an extent, except for it was I don't know, like somewhere upwards of 10 years within a 10-year span of the end of the Civil War, there was an Irish contingent that rose up in Canada because they got found out and they got beaten. But the idea, like I said, was to ship cannons and guns and trained soldiers back to Ireland, including at that point in time then General Marr, and uh, have an insurrection against England.
So America is always the bastion of freedom. That's
Pretty
why I
much,
took away
yeah.
from that.
Pretty much. I mean, like it actually got so bad at one point in time. Actually, during the Battle of Fredericksburg, uh, the Union Irish Brigade actually marched up to the Confederate Irish Brigade, which is behind Marie's Heights, and it blows my mind what happens at this point in time. The Union Irish Brigade actually was the closest federal unit to the Confederate troops. They were about about 100 yards or less away, and the reason was the Irish Brigade was actually the Union one. I mean, was actually set up specifically for close range uh, combat. Even though they're all using guns, and the idea was we're going to stand a little further away because everyone else has got rifle guns. No, the Irish Brigade didn't do that. They mostly used smoothbores and they used what's called buck and ball, which is like a normal big round and then like and then a few rounds of buckshot behind that. So they're essentially shooting shotguns at at the Confederate Irish troops. And at one point in time, the Union Irish, like the Union Irish Brigade, took huge, like they received the most casualties out of any unit in the Federal Army during this one battle. It was so bad that it was almost disbanded. But they were able to pull in new recruits for the regiments that made it up. Anyway, when they finally retreated, the Confederate Irish Brigade actually put down their guns and started cheering at them.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It's interesting. Just like I said, it was essentially like a shadow war being fought by people who are from or by and large are from the same country or are the children people from one country, and they're all pissed off about the exact same thing, and they all want to solve it. So what they do is they murder one another here in a war, and then the idea is to go home. And if you're familiar at all with Irish history, you know that didn't really play out for the Irish at all.
Although I'm curious why they just didn't pick one side, and then wouldn't that have given them more troops to send home
Well,
instead
okay,
of killing
it
each
it,
other?
it would have, but interestingly enough, General Marr was not a stupid man, and uh, it was essentially encouraged to get your military training, no matter which side you fought on, But the Irish soldiers would always band together, like whenever you find uh, like I said, in any army, you're always going to find the Irish soldiers banded together. That was actually intentionally done by both governments, believe it or not, because they felt that certain groups would work better together. That's why you saw all black units, because the black soldiers could not possibly work well with the white soldiers unless they had white officers commanding them. Thanks, Federal Army, for that little piece of bullshit right there. But it was, like I said, it was the idea that these ethnic groups would work together. Even and what's even interesting is that if you back up to the Mexican War, that was still what was done. Like the army would always segregate into these groups like this. And the last time, like the war before that, in the Mexican War, when we had when the United States was fighting Mexico, there was actually a battalion of all Irish soldiers, and they left the army in the middle of the fight because Mexico actually offered to treat them a lot better. Actually offered to treat them as equals, whereas in the American army they were just people that were told to go fuck off. It was like, but basically being Irish was like being black or Italian or anything that was non Aryan, pretty much, because America has always got a problem with racism and classism in its history, and you literally cannot possibly escape it.
Nope. It's pretty sad to look back at history at how many people have been mistreated and how many groups have been mistreated.
It is like, and see, what's always bothered me is everyone like, well, the worst scourge in American history was slavery of African Americans. I think possibly the worst scourge in American history was the rape and murder of the native people, and then possibly African American slavery, or actually just slavery, period. But right on up there is the mistreatment of Jews, the mistreatment of Irish, the mistreatment of Muslims and Hindus, and basically anyone who, again, is non-Aryan. Now, I'm not saying that we are a country of Nazis, but we certainly do mistreat anyone. Like it's like flavor of the day type stuff, uh it's cool to right now to mistreat Muslims, and that's kind of why Trump is doing so well, because he's uh playing on the fears that everyone has, that we've heard all these years now, about how Muslims are going to come kill us all, and the president's going to disarm us. And it kind of makes me sad. And actually, that's a good point to mention. Like I said, the Rubio-bot broke down yesterday, because yesterday was Super Tuesday number 3, wasn't it?
Uh, number two. There's only really two big Super Tuesdays. At least I can think of.
I was thinking it was Super Tuesday number 3, but anyway, yeah. Marco Rubio dropped out yesterday, so yay, I guess. Actually not yay. It actually makes me sad to see Rubio drop out, and it's not because I like the man, even though I think he would make a far better presidential choice than Cruz or Trump. If I'm being honest with you, uh,
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
and keep in mind that's entirely disagreeing with the man. It's just that he seems to have a little bit better experience, and it's weird saying it anyway. But
He just
it actually
seems
makes me
more
sad.
sensible in a weird
He,
way.
I don't know, sensible. I think maybe genuine. Like to me, even though I realize he's basically parroting what he's told to say, he does seem to actually care. you know. But what I was gonna say is the reason it makes me sad is not because of all that. It's because he's been being told for like the past at least week to drop out before yesterday. Like he's like, his staff has been telling him, you need to drop out of the race because you will not even win Florida. And Rubio was very defensive about it, which is understandable. It's his home state, and he wanted to stay in and see how he did. I get that, but there was literally no way in hell, and everyone on his staff saw it coming. 2 weeks in advance. Just looking at advanced poll numbers, they said no, you're not going to win. You need to drop out, and he didn't, and he did horribly last night in Florida, which is pitiful, because that kind of tells you exactly how the Floridians feel. And if you look back at Florida's history with elections, they're generally stupid, you know, which is well, not all of Florida is. Uh,
Well,
specifically,
Florida is very weird with elections. Like always very weird with elections.
I was gonna say it's
There's always
more.
a problem in Florida.
I was gonna say it's more Miami-Dade that's kind of fucked up. Now, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is gonna be kind of disparaging, and I'm aware of that. I don't know if it's just an old Jew type thing, but that seems to be the majority of who makes up Miami-Dade County. And if you look at the stupidity on the news, the face-eating guy, he was from Miami-Dade, and every time they have to have a recount, it's always Miami-Dade. Why is it uh, that's like I just don't get that. Like it has the highest retired Jewish population in Florida, and all this crazy shit happens there, and I just don't get why it's all like why is the weird shit always in Miami-Dade? Why?
Maybe what's happened is the retirement camps are secretly Nazi experiment camps. So really the Nazis are running it.
I don't I mean like South Florida is all Cubans. Uh, Depending on which side of northern Florida you live on, you have uh, rednecks or really hateful rednecks, and then you have a couple spots where it's just vacation areas, and then like retired Jewish person city where people eat faces, and then Disney World. And then Disney World is like is apparently the only happy place in Florida, except for down in the Keys in the Conch Republic. But but that's because that's one of the few groups that's actually seceded from the United States, and it actually worked.
I mean, but then you have to consider the horror stories of Disney World too.
You mean how the reason that the Cuban population in Florida is so high is because that's actually where Walt Disney gets his food from?
I know. I was gonna say that Walt Disney eats children.
I'm talking about. See. This is where we're talking. Where we start talking about a robot that's more powerful than even Nick, and that would be Walt Disney, who is I
I
believe
take
is
offense to that.
I believe that Walt Disney is currently a giant spider robot, and that he eats Cuban children for sustenance, and he's not actually dead.
I mean, clearly he's not dead. That is scientifically proven.
So, Nick,
Now, hmm,
are you going to upgrade to the Disney robot spider body and eat Cuban children?
I am not a robot, and Walt Disney robot is not more powerful than me. Also, I do not eat children.
No, what I'm asking
That's
is,
no wait, that's my presidential campaign.
I can just imagine that. You walking up to the podium, like all these robot noises, and you're like, I will not eat your children. Vote for me.
You know, the sad thing is, I think I would get votes.
I mean, look at how well the Rubio-bot did. I mean, that's arguably Rubio-bot is one of the most advanced androids in human history, and he did really well. I mean, you might actually get elected.
I mean, well, I mean, this has to be the end of Rubio's political career now, or at least any serious runs
Did he ever
at
actually have one
office.
though?
I mean, the Republican Party has been trying to set him up as a presidential candidate for a while now. I'm not sure if you remember, but during one of Obama's State of the Union speeches, they put Rubio up, and it was the famous scene where he kept drinking water while he was giving the Republican rebuttal. And it seems like every time they've tried to put him up on stage to show him off, he's screwed up somehow. Um, like the debate where he even admitted that he screwed up. And I mean, there's just been so many little things that Rubio's done wrong. I'm not sure he'll ever be seriously considered again.
Well, see, okay, like just the rehydrating the Rubio-bot thing. I'm perfectly fine with him drinking water. It really didn't bother me that he did that. Well, I mean, it actually
It,
does. It
it,
was it was a live televised speech, so that kind of bothers me a little bit. I
yeah, I
was at
mean, watching it, I was watching it. I was trying to listen to him and pay serious attention to him, but I was actually seriously distracted because he just kept reaching for more water.
what actually bothered me more about it was the fact that he made direct eye contact with the camera. He's like, "Yeah, I'm drinking the water, and I'm watching you, watching me." That was the creepiest goddamn thing I had ever. It's like like just direct eye, like his eyes never left the audience. It's like, I know you're there.
And
I know you're there.
it
You
wasn't
can't
just
look away from
it
me.
wasn't just a sip either. It wasn't just a sip either. He like maintained eye contact while he took deep drinks. It was it was so awkward.
And see, like on another level, it was overtly sexualized when I mean, like seriously, think about this. It's like it's going in my mouth, like I'm holding my hand. It's like he's filleting somebody, and you can't look away. You can't look away, and he's looking directly at you, like, uh huh. What are you gonna do about it? Uh huh. Look at me. Yep. Go, go, go. Look, I'm like, oh my god, no, 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 stop. I, I'm horrified. I'm horrified at that like this was actually worse than someone having a still shot of, like, for example, John Boehner and the corn dog. Like, it's even worse than that to me. you know, or Obama eating a hot
And,
dog. Just something, just something vaguely phallic that's anywhere near your mouth. You don't want that, and it's like, it's in my mouth. I'm drinking it right now, and I'm like, no, no, why, no, wrong, no. And the more I think about it, the more disturbed I actually like. It actually makes me uncomfortable to think about that, and
if you remember, like the first time he did it, you just kind of ignored it. The second time he did it, it was just kind of like it was starting to get weird. But then he kept drinking and drinking and drinking. It was one of the weirdest presidential rebuttals I have ever seen.
see, not only that, but the water was actually out of reach of him. So he reached over to grab it, and he's like, "Oh shit, it's not there." And then he leans over, and the entire time he's looking directly at the camera, and finally he just runs off screen, grabs his water, and comes back on, and just stands there on camera drinking water. I'm like, God damn, why, why?
And
I
I
mean, see,
remember back then they were saying that he was a young congressman that the Republicans thought could be president one day.
well, see, like the messed up thing is, I like we've done some shows where I have actually had to have something to drink, because I've talked so long, or got so excited that I actually wound up, having a dry mouth, stuff like so I understand, especially like with my background in public speaking, I understand the need, to try and not have a dry mouth, so you're not touching, like weird like that, so I get that, and I understand the nervousness, of being on live TV for the first time to the entire fucking country, and the importance of what you're talking about. But in reality, let's look at where he was at. He's in a room, maybe 10 people in there, and a camera. Okay? Maybe 10 people and a camera at most. Okay? And it's a pre written speech. All he has to do is stand there, look handsome, and read. That's literally all that is required of him to do. And he got so nervous he had to get a drink of water, which I understand, I really do. But it's like, son, come on, you're on live goddamn TV here. What you're saying is the single most important thing that you'll ever say in your life up at that point, pretty much, and you're just go, go, go awkwardly. I'm like, no.
It's like Rubio just folds under pressure. Like every time he gets into a really pressurized situation, or he's caught off guard, or he gets nervous, he folds so hard, and like I said, he was the best candidate. When at least to me, when you consider Cruz and Trump, I still like Kasich better than Rubio, but it was just sad to watch. I
Well,
mean, I feel bad for Rubio, kind of like I feel bad for Jeb Bush and watching the disaster of his campaign.
I look. I do not feel bad for Bush. I do not feel bad for Bush at all. He went into that knowing he was not going to win, and it's like No Child Left Behind was a failed program. You're the only child left behind here, so you're not going to make it. And I'm sorry, but like, okay, just going back to Kasich for a moment. I like him. I don't agree with him, and I think and I think he has some generally bad, if not destructive ideas. But currently, he's probably the best Republican candidate there is. But there was apparently an email sent out sometime this past week that I kind of read a portion of talking about this. The GOP is basically prepared to nominate someone else in favor of Trump if it becomes clear that he will be the nominee, that he'll get the most delegates. Which I don't know why they haven't already. But the idea is um, to shove what, like, the reason Kasich has not dropped out is he's actually being supported by a lot of establishment members of the party. Like, they're essentially
Yeah,
floating him. So,
he's the
like,
last he's the last establishment candidate left.
yeah, yeah, he is. He really is. Like he's the last one with ties. Well, not just to the establishment, but even to fucking Ronald Reagan. I mean, goddamn, he's like the last actual Republican on the stage, and that's saying a lot. For me, that's saying a lot about what I think about Kasich. It's like he's the last genuine hope we have at a real reasonable conservative president other than a fucking nut job, which is what we're going to. I mean, someone who wasn't even a Republican until he decided to run, and then someone who is not even fucking an American. So the options are a literal rhino, like, not literal. I mean, like, figurative rhino, I guess. No, no, no. I do mean literal, like RINO. I do mean that. A literal him. Damn, I hate stammering. Literal rhino, or someone who's un American. Literally un American. like actual realistic definition of literal here. Okay, so
Yeah,
Kasich is the best option. I'm sorry. I mean, they're all bad, but it's like the lesser of evils is still going to be evil, and I get that. But I don't think Kasich is evil. I think he has uh, some, like I said, bad ideas. And I don't agree with him. He does have a few, like a few stances that I think are kind of destructive, but that's me. Okay, I'm allowed to disagree with him, but he's the best option. And if he winds up being on the ticket, I'm gonna fucking vote for the man. Okay, I am one of the 27% that will not vote for Trump. I'm one of the 26% that will not vote for Cruz. And now that Rubio's gone, fuck him. He's gone. So I will vote for Kasich. If Bernie is not on the ballot in November, I will vote for the least destructive of Republican candidates, and I sincerely hope it winds up being Kasich because I will vote for him. I actually got asked last night talking to a friend of mine. Who's also a Bernie supporter, and this friend asked me, she says, uh, "Are you convinced enough at how bad your own candidates are to vote for Mrs. Clinton?" And I said, "Fuck you! I will not be voting for Hillary Clinton. If the options are Hillary Clinton or uh, Trump or Cruz, I will just shoot myself right there in the voting booth."
I've told you before, suicide is not the option, and it doesn't help anyone.
It helps me to escape the options that I'll have. Because here's the thing, I will not be
It does
moving to
not
Can.
help you with your duty to America.
Here's the thing, I will not be moving to Canada. I will not be moving to Mexico. I'll not be moving to some other socialist hell that is not the United States. I'll be staying here because I would be too fucking embarrassed to even go somewhere else and say I'm from the United States. I mean, just sincerely think about this for a moment. Not just you, Nick, but I mean everyone. Think about this for a second. A lot of people already have disparaging things to say about Americans. They kind of hate us because we have been dicks to everyone for so long. So what's going to happen when we have someone like Donald Trump who's the nominee, or even the president? I mean, it's downright damn terrifying.
Yeah,
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it, and it's not fine. There we go. I sang. Are you happy?
why would you disrespect Tootie and the Blowfish like that?
Because I can.
I want to apologize to Hootie and the Blowfish.
No
I
one
love
cares.
you guys, and you're awesome.
No one
You
cares.
guys are awesome, and you rock.
No one cares.
Highly
But
underappreciated.
but moving on, I want to talk about Whispers of the Old Gods a little bit more because that's actually more exciting news than politics to
Well,
me.
we still haven't gotten to the Democratic side, though.
What is there to say about the Democrats other than Bernie is behind in delegates and Hillary is ahead in delegates, but Bernie is still in the fight.
I mean, I love Bernie. Don't get me wrong, but it's not looking good for him winning the Democratic candidacy.
Well, it
But
looks
I do
good
have
to
a
it
question
looks
for you.
good to, it okay,
Wait,
okay. Hey,
I have a question. Okay.
okay. What's your question?
If Hillary wins the Democratic primary, do you think that Bernie could win running as an independent?
Yes.
Cool. We've covered the Democratic race. Now let's get to Whispers of the Old Gods.
You see how simple it is? Like there's not really much discussion when it comes to the Democrats. But yeah, I do want to move on to Whispers of the Old Gods because I logged into Hearthstone last night after the patch was installed. By the way, there was a patch for Warcraft 3 this week. It's mostly just updating the game so that it's operable on modern systems. Like you don't have to have an older computer now. which is fucking amazing. Um, so like, the big to do about what it could possibly be after like 4 years or however long it's been. That's all it is, okay? But they also added in a patch for Diablo 2, which is the first one in I think 2 years. That was mostly like a few cosmetic and a few gameplay changes. But Hearthstone had some of the biggest changes of all. You can now have 18 decks, 18 decks total. But you have to have unlocked every hero. Okay, so that means you have to have done Garrosh, Jaina, and so on. Okay, uh, but I looked at the collection thing last night. I was like, holy shit, why do I have 18X? Where the fuck did that come from? You know, and what got me to do that was I saw an ad, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up real fast to talk about it. Uh, I got a free golden hero last night, and I do mean free. Like, well, as far as Hearthstone goes, it's free. I now have Lady Liadrin as my paladin over Uther, um, and I switched to Liadrin because there is a free thing on March 11th or later. If you level a character to 20, and it has to be a new character. It is not retroactive, which pissed me off. But uh, if you level a character to 20, you get Liadrin for Hearthstone. Okay, simplest goddamn thing to do. It takes maybe an hour, 2 hours maximum. Now if you have full guild perks, full BOAs and stuff like that, you might be able to do it a little bit faster. But I just made a hunter and I ran around. It was like that was the first hunter I got. It was like a night elf or something like that. It was the first thing when I went to the creation screen, so I went with that. Used BOA gear, didn't even use guild perks. I just ran shit, like ran around and shot things, and then did a couple dungeons, and I was good. But I got to 20 and I got Leandrin, so now I have 18 decks I can set up, which is awesome. I mean, just those of you who don't play Hearthstone that much, being able to have 18 decks is the most amazing thing in the game right now. I mean, like it's more powerful than a locomotive. It's literally a Superman move, I guess, because now you have more than one option. Like, so you can have uh multiple variations of the same deck, and just switch out one or two things, and you don't have to delete something you really, really enjoy having. So that's amazing. The Golden Hero thing is amazing, but there was also several card changes, several changes. Actually, some of the bigger ones was to the general collection that you have. In fact, um, if you want to make a randomized deck, just let the game actually pick the cards for you. It's actually more functional now. Now, in the past, you can make a randomized deck, and uh, it would make some pretty decent choices for you. But now it actually makes it based off of the cards that you have, and what and it pretty much balances um, those cards against one another. Like, like the way Nick would, for example, the way you would set up a deck, and the way you've been working with me about doing it, even though I've been playing Hearthstone longer than you have. Fuck you. Uh, just like the way that you
But you
balance
still
the
can't
card.
beat me.
Shut up. Just like the way that you balance the cards out. The game now functions that way.
Which is a really cool change. I mean, it's really awesome to see how their technology is getting better, how they're improving the AI. It's just a lot of fun to see.
And see what
And of course, there was the new expansion announced. I'm excited for the new expansion. Are you excited? I'm excited.
I actually still have not looked at all of the information about the new expansion yet because I've actually been very, very busy lately. Yesterday Was a
You
shopping
mean
day
you're a
for
communist?
no. Yesterday
You're a
was
communist.
no. Yesterday was a shopping day for campaign purposes. I went and got stuff to make signs because I'm not going to be spending $300 to get 25 signs. Fuck that bullshit. Uh, my signs are going to work out to be maybe $1.50, no more than $2 each. So yeah,
Which is cool. Well, since you didn't get to look at the cards as much, I'll start talking about them. And it's a really cool change in playstyle, at least from what I'm seeing from the way the cards are set up, and from what little I'm seeing. I mean, I could be wrong about this. This is speculation, but it appears that Hearthstone is moving away from the combo setup um, that it's been famous for. Like with Grim Patron decks that used to rush before they nerfed that, or the new Worgen, Raging Worgen warriors that I've seen, or the famous Druid combos, or the Freeze Mage combos, whatever have you. Um, but it seems like they're actually moving towards a setup where you're going to build up one really big minion. You're going to basically be building up one of the old gods and just making them more and more and more powerful. Um, and when you summon them, they're just going to be amazingly, amazingly powerful. So, for instance, uh, uh, they were showing off Cthulhu. Now, at first you look at Cthulhu and you think, this is okay. He's a 7 mana cost card, and it's only a 6/6. And his special effect is that he deals the amount of his attack damage split randomly among all enemies um, when you summon him. So basically, he just does 6 damage split among everybody. Which I'm sure most people would think is, well, what's the point of that, right? It's not that powerful. But see, the key is when you look at the other cards, because the other cards start to show off some amazing things. Because they actually buff Cthulhu, um, no matter where he is, if he's in your hand or in the deck or wherever he is. And I imagine there's going to be a way to resurrect Cthulhu or the old gods in some way. Eventually. I'm not, I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I'm speculating. So basically, we're going to be building up giant gods through worshipping them through cards. And to me, that is really, really cool.
I I actually can't disagree with you. I think that is what Blizzard is intending to do. Even if it goes no further than this one expansion, uh, that actually is a pretty decent change to the game, like gameplay. Because currently, if anyone's playing Hearthstone, it really is. You go for various combos. Like you mentioned, the Grim Patron deck. That used to be the be all end all, and if you came against a Grim Patron, you were pretty much going to lose. So I think what's going to cause is, well, actually, back up for a second. Blizzard's already announced that they are going to have um, a different play style to the game to begin with, uh, especially for newer players, and they actually going to make it easier for newer players to be able to come into the game, because the game is 2 years old now, which is Like when you think about it, it's like holy shit, the game's come this far in 2 years. Like you know, how much further can you do you carry your standards there, Caesar? But it's just interesting, like I said, to look at it, 'cause like I said, Blizzard is trying to uh, make the game more appealing to people and make it easier to get into the game and collect cards without having to, excuse me, without having to go back through every other expansion and do everything else that you have to do. So I think something like this, like for a new player, this is going to let them step into the game and they're going to be able to look at it and say, "Oh, wow, this is actually kind of fucking awesome. I'm going to keep playing this game because look at me, I can all of a sudden do something cool and powerful."
Yeah, and just the change of play styles is just it's been needed, I'd say. We've needed a change like this for a while because frankly, rush decks are dominating. They've always dominated in Hearthstone, and it, aside from maybe Control Warrior and Freeze Mage and possibly Handlock, it's been incredibly difficult to slow the game down and just have fun uh, with your big minions. It's just been really really difficult.
And see, I'll be honest with you, that's actually what killed a lot of my interest in Hearthstone for a very long time. Was the fact that I just wasn't having fun playing. I mean, it's not that the game is unfun. It's just you get on and you want to play, and you actually want to get out some decent cards, and oh look at there, round five, haha, you're dead, fuck you, and I'm not. I'm actually tired of that. Like I'm tired of being killed. Before the game even gets to round 10, it's like, goddamn, I have some decent cards in here. I would like to see my decent cards get drawn and get played, because I took the time and effort to actually sit down and constructively make a deck. Now, the thing with rush decks is for me, my hunter deck it's kind of a rush deck, and Nick, you actually helped me set it up, and I mean it's becoming a lot more viable now, depending on what I play against. Like there's certain classes I realize that if I'm using my hunter deck, I'm going to lose, but there's other ones I realize, hey, I might actually have a decent chance here. So it's not that play styles like that are going to be completely invalidated. It's just more the fact that the game is getting a different functionality to it. Now there may be someone who may continue to play, like for example a rush deck or a control deck, and that's fine. But it's interesting to me because I actually do want to see how this plays out. Like is everyone automatically going to switch over to playing the game with this new style? Like where you build up, like you said, essentially it seems we're going to be focusing on building up uh, one singular minion to do, some amazing shit. And I kind of wonder, is that, like I said, is that going to be what everyone just automatically starts doing, or are you going to have some holdouts who are still going to prove that you can do older play styles and still be awesome, or what? And but just to kind of echo and agree with what you said. I do think you're right. I do think having a new play style added into the game is something that it actually needs.
I think it's largely going to depend on how many people are going to be willing to really pay money for the new expansion. Um, because um, obviously, if you really want to get into the gods, then you're going to have to I almost think it's necessary now to actually buy the 50 card pack. Um, I didn't buy the 50 card pack for Grand Tournament or Goblins versus Gnomes, and this is the first one where I'm really considering on actually doing it. And it's kind of interesting because I'm just thinking, wow, do I really want to put down that much money for this game? And part of me does. I kind of want to.
Well, see, okay, the thing with doing that is, um, you and I both know that there are ways to actually grind out gold in Hearthstone. Now, beyond doing, like your daily quest, you can sit there and play games over and over and over again, and then you get 3 wins, you get 10 gold. That's fine. So you can make up the gold pretty quickly. But the past couple of days, I've been getting on and making sure I complete every daily because I want to build up as much gold as possible. Uh, but with uh, the fact that you can actually already pre-purchase it right now. Each like the new expansion, you can purchase it right now. Uh, and if I'm mistaken, you actually do get a discount on the big card packs if you do that. I mean, I'd have to go back and read because I could be wrong. But there is a definitive bonus to actually getting those giant card packs like that. Like there's a real actual advantage to doing that, and it's the fact that you get cards in bulk as soon as you as soon as you log in the game. They're there and they're available. Uh, so it does give you an early advantage, but it's kind of a balance point between uh, between to me saving up the gold and buying the card packs or just spending real money. And I'm actually still getting cards from the tournament expansion right now that I haven't ever gotten before. So I'm gonna have to start saving up gold to get the ones for this because it, I don't know. I'm weird. I haven't committed to actually purchasing the giant pack, but it's becoming apparent that at some point in time I may have to do that. And
I mean, it's just I've already started saving up gold now. Or I'm starting to save up gold right now, that like literally this moment. But at the same time, it's like maybe this is a game where I'm going to eventually have to put some money down. And I mean, it's not something that I feel bad about putting money down for. Um, I generally no, I never buy any. Um, just I've never really bought anything before. So it's not something that I'm really worried about necessarily, or I feel bad about for doing. But it's something where I'm like, okay, I think at this point in time, I'm willing to accept paying money for this now. And I think Blizzard has done an excellent job in making this a game where I want to spend money. And it's really cool to think about, honestly.
will see in the past, I had a
God bless you.
friend I had a friend who wanted to play Hearthstone, and uh, his concern was that he felt that he was going to have to start paying money to play the game, and that caused a large amount of disinterest for him. Like he got pissed off when he realized, that people had a lot of cards that he didn't have, and he felt he was going to have to actually spend money in order to play catch up. So I do like the idea that Blizzard is going to make it easier to get involved in the game. But at the same time, I do have concerns, like you and I have both said, we're to the point where we might actually start buying these card packs, with real money just to try and get more cards. And I do think that it's kind of a make or break point with Blizzard for me right now. Like, are they going to go um, pay to win style with Hearthstone, which they're kind of seemingly doing, or is it going to remain entirely free to play?
I think part of I'm not sure I want to say issue, but part of it just comes from the fact that um um, um I'm trying to think. The more expansions that they put out, the bigger the game becomes, the more necessary it's going to be to put money down. And it's kind of an almost ironic thing because I'm sure that people love the new expansions and they want the new expansions and I want new expansions. But the more content they put out, the more they do, it's just the more that we're going to have to consider actually buying the game or paying money for the game.
Yep. So, before we get too involved in this and get kind of depressed, let's talk about some lighter news for a moment. Because we're
I'm not
actually
depressed. I'm excited. Damn excited. I'm gonna have an old god that's going to terrorize the Hearthstone field, including you.
sure, whatever. No, no, no. Like, I'm excited for it too, but I do want to talk about the fact that there's going to be another Indiana Jones movie for a little bit.
My question to that is why?
That oddly enough, that was actually my first question. Uh, it's going to be Indiana Jones like number 4 or 5. I don't remember, and it's not going to be out for 3 more years. And Harrison Ford is going to be playing Indy, and okay, okay, God damn it, okay.
No, hold on.
Let's
Before we
think
even
about
start
this.
on this, wait. I want to explain just how much I love Indiana Jones before I get into how much I hate this idea. Growing up, probably my two favorite movie series were Indiana Jones and Star Wars. And I honestly wanted to be an archaeologist because of Indiana Jones. I kind of still want to be an archaeologist because of Indiana Jones. Because the idea of going back and looking through history and digging up lost secrets and finding mysteries is one of the coolest things in the world to me. And I loved Indiana Jones 1. I loved Indiana Jones 2. I even loved Indiana Jones 3. However, the fourth movie was a goddamn travesty. And if the and I'm sorry, but there does not need to be a fifth movie.
We'll see. Okay,
Okay, you can continue.
okay. What I was going to say is, let's just think about the last one, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was like 20, 25 years after the third one. Okay. Uh, in the movie, it was supposed to have been about 10 years after that one. But if you look at Harrison Ford and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and how he looked in the third movie, you can kind of tell it's a little more than 10 years. I mean, I don't actually believe that Indy had such a hard life that he physically aged 20 plus years in a 10-year span. I just don't see that happening. But Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was so fucking stupid to me that no, I'm not even going to try and justify the reaction here. It was fucking stupid. It really was. I mean, oh look, aliens, ha ha. That's no. It was stupid.
No,
It's
it was dumb.
basically what it is this is what happened. Okay, this was Spielberg's moment here for me, of pulling a George Lucas. The idea that that you just want to make something to where it's perfect, you know, so you fuck around with it and until you fuck it up. Okay, that's exactly what Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was. It was stupid. It was beyond stupid. It was again the worst Indiana Jones movie of all time, and I actually won't be forgiving Spielberg for it. I mean, I'm sorry. I can kind of understand George Lucas making changes to his movies, Star Wars, and I can whatever. It's fine. It's his movies, So my thing with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is whatever, fine. It's Spielberg's movie, but ultimately, no, I will fucking hold it against him because he. I mean, it how can I put this? He fucked it up. I mean, it arguably the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull movie was a worse thing to do to Indiana Jones than George Lucas ever did to Star Wars. Okay, and that's saying something. That's really, really saying something at the multiverse level. So I'm not excited. I'm just not fucking excited. I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to kill him off like they did with Han Solo? I mean, like that's really the only option because I'm sorry, Harrison Ford is upwards of 80 years old at this point in time. I don't think he's capable of being an action star like he used to be, and we're going to be adding 3 more years to that. So he'll be kind of now here's the thing. Harrison Ford is a pretty active senior citizen at this point in time. Okay, he's probably more active than I am. I'm sure he gets around fairly well. But again, let's be realistic. He'll be even closer to 80 at this point in time. What option do you have? You've killed Han Solo off. He can never reprise that role. Fuck that. So what are you gonna do? You gonna kill Indy off? I mean, goddamn. Think about that shit for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what you're planning to do with this. I'm utterly confused. What is the plan that they have? Because I don't see any plan. I really don't. I just, are they that desperate to make an Indiana Jones movie?
Look, okay, here's the thing for me. I would actually be more favorable of a reboot of Indiana Jones than having a fifth one. Because I'm sorry, if you look at the now look, I love Indiana Jones. I know a lot of people who love Indiana Jones. And I
yeah,
even
I love Indiana Jones.
you see, I even know some people who actually liked Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. They actually liked it, okay? I have severe problems
They
with it.
are crazy
I
people.
I watched it one time and I have had no interest in watching it again. I thought it was dumb as shit. Okay, so I'm not going to watch it again. But if you want to base Indiana Jones off of, oh look, there's a resurgence of nostalgia. Ha ha ha. We're going to do we're going to have movie that will tug at the heartstrings of everyone who's a child of the 80s and early 90s. Ha ha. No, make a goddamn reboot. I'm sorry, make a reboot of the franchise. Do that. That's that's the accepted thing right now. Not making a new movie, like a decade after the last one that was a failure, which was 20 years after the one before that. So there's like a 30-year fucking span here that we're dealing with, like almost my entire lifetime. No, no, please, just reboot the goddamn movie line and get it over with. You know what? Fuck. You could get Tom Hardy to play Indiana Jones, and it would be the first role in his life where he's not had stupid shit on his face, and I'm even including the ones where he has not had stupid shit on his face. In fact, the last movie he was in, um, I don't remember the name of it. I think it's called Legend. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't remember. He actually portrays twins in the movie. Okay, one twin has he talks like this because it's like he's got fucking marbles in his cheeks, and he talks like that. The other one is like I have a difficult time figuring out which one is actually supposed to be Tom Hardy and which one is just a mockery of Tom Hardy because one of them, actually looks and sounds like Tom Hardy. The other one also looks and sounds like Tom Hardy, but it's like he has a mouthful of mashed potatoes. And I'm like, God damn it, Tom. Just take off the stupid masks, take off the facial hair, you know, uh, spit whatever's in your mouth out and be a goddamn actor and actually do your role. I mean, like really, the one role where he was probably actually himself was as Shinzon in Star Trek Nemesis, and he even had like a shaved head. And no, it just no, goddamn it, just stop. Stop, Tom. Be Indiana Jones. I would be okay with it. You know what? I would also probably be okay with Chris Pratt being Indiana Jones. I can get behind that. Look at him in Jurassic World. That's okay. Give the role to someone else. Someone who's an upcoming actor, someone who's popular. Whatever. I don't care. Just please, for God's sake, do not put Harrison Ford back in the Indiana Jones costume and give the man a whip. He already got hurt making Star Wars, and he got hurt so goddamn bad they had to kill off his character. So please, just no Indiana Jones.
I completely agree with this rant. That,
Also, fuck you,
that,
Tom Hardy. Just in general, fuck you, Tom Hardy, because I know at some point in
also,
time
Chris Pratt would make an amazing Indiana Jones.
he has the personality to be. You know what? You know what? You know what? You know what? You know what could happen? You know what could actually happen? They could take Shia LaBeouf's dumbass character and just we're gonna make him a grown up now. Yay! And it could be Chris Pratt. I would be okay with that. I would actually watch that. Chris Pratt being the adult Shia LaBeouf, because you kind of realize at this point in time that Shia LaBeouf has gone out of his goddamn mind, and he's never going to come back to being the person that we liked in sort of liked in Transformers and kind of enjoyed watching movies. I mean, so just because I'm sorry, he was a relentless dick in Crystal Skull. So let's just move away from that and have Chris Pratt be the adult Tim. I mean, they kind of had the same general hair. They have some similar features. I could believe, that Relentless Dick grew up to be Chris Pratt. I I would be okay with that. I mean, it's kind of a stretch, because when you realize that Shia LaBeouf was actually an adult portraying that role, and Chris Pratt is an adult, it's whatever. Just I mean, goddamn, just something something would be better than having Harrison Ford, be in. And I'm sorry, and I love Harrison Ford. I love everything he's ever been in. But no, just no, God damn it, no, stop it, fuck it,
It,
no.
it, 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 it's time for the man to retire. I'm sorry. It, his role in Star Wars was beautiful, but he needs to no, he needs to retire from action movies. That's what he needs to do. He needs to retire from action movies, move on, and go into the sunset.
Well, see, okay, look, seriously, think about it this way. Like I said, he's like 70 something right now. He's like 74, I think. I don't know. He's been making movies since like 1975, 76. Okay, I love Harrison Ford, but it is getting time for him to stop. You know, doing roles like Hans, or not Han Solo. I mean, I was fine with him being Han Solo, but I mean like Indiana Jones and stuff like that. It is time for him to kind of step away from doing that and let someone else come in. I mean, like I said, You could have. I mean, Tom Hardy is in everything now. You could have Tom Hardy be Indiana Jones, and I'd be okay with it because God fucking damn it, if you think about his role in Mad Max, no, 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 just I have problems on a fundamental level with that movie. I'm not sure if you can tell. And they actually go beyond the fact that the actor who portrays, who's actually done one of the more favorable uh, um versions of Beast in X-Men movies to me, as that weird albino thing. I don't. No, just no. Stop. Stop. Stop with stupid shit. Please, movies, just stop being stupid. God damn it. You know, Actually, this is actually the perfect lead-in to the last thing I want to talk about today, and I kind of feel like uh, you and I are the United States Senate, and Indiana Jones is Obama's nominee for the Supreme Court, and we're just like, no, fuck it, no, 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 stop, stop right there. We're gonna block you. Stop.
I mean, I actually don't know much about the selection. So please tell me about him.
Well, he has been actively involved in law for pretty much his adult life. His grandparents are immigrants. His grandparents built a better life for his parents. His parents built a better life for him. He graduated from Harvard. He was, Harvard with uh, summa cum laude, and he was uh, an intern for the same judge that John Roberts was. He is very, very well liked. He was one of the chief investigators in the Oklahoma City bombings. I mean, he's currently the chief justice of the D.C. Circuit Court. And he was brought up as a potential nominee around the time that Elena Kagan was going to be nominated, and Republicans and Democrats both loved this man. He's Jewish. He is a centrist. I mean, goddamn, he's essentially the perfect nominee. Other than I forget the man's name, that everyone thought was going to be it for a while. Who's had you know a a decent career in law, but has had kind of a quiet one. I mean, like this guy has been in the public eye before. But just listening to him talk to that, like when he made his, well, when Obama made the announcement of the confirmation, I listened to that, and of course, I watched. Uh, his name, by the way, is Merrick Garland. But I watched his speech, and he started crying when he was talking about his family, and it was very emotional. And even I cried over it because, like I said, it was an emotional speech. He said that this is the uh, the greatest gift he's ever gotten, other than his children, and he said it's the happiest day he's ever had, other than when his wife said yes, she would marry him. I mean, it's like it's look at this, just being nominated, not actually being confirmed, but being nominated to the Supreme Court has basically made this man's life. And
I
he
mean,
said
it's one of the highest honors that you can possibly have.
it is, and I'm excited. Like I'm actually excited, And I'll be honest with you, I am glad, as a Republican, I'm actually glad that Obama uh, nominated somebody. I really am. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but this ridiculous notion that he needs to hold off and just not nominate somebody because it's just not right. No, fuck that. It's in the Constitution. Okay, even Justice Scalia, uh, invisible God, do not rest his soul, because that meant not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Scalia was a horrible individual. Okay, let's be realistic here. Horrible individual. He hated a lot of people. A lot of people hated him. Um, and I'm not trying to talk ill of the dead. I'm being genuine, um, he would have been okay with this nomination because it's in the Constitution. Now, the phrasing of it is the president makes appointments. It's kind of one of his duties. But the appointment to the Senate, I'm sorry, the Supreme Court is made with the advice and consent of the Senate. There is nothing in here that says the Senate can say no, we don't want this individual. They're welcome to say no. They're welcome to have a dissenting opinion of it, but the appointment is the appointment. Okay, that's literally what it says. The president shall appoint. Okay, the Senate gets to give him advice, and they get to give their consent. But the Senate does not actually control, you know, what's going to happen. It's an appointment by the president. Now, you can argue that the consent is them saying that the Senate is allowed to, you know, turn down the appointment. But the problem is there's no precedence for that at all. Even though people say, well, that's what they've done in the past, they've turned down, blah, blah, blah. Sure, they've rejected appointments. But the fact is that that was still the appointment. Okay? When it was confirmed, it was confirmed. And that's actually a tradition type thing. That's sort of along the lines of uh, I forget the unspoken rule where it is you can block not Hatch Thurmond the Thurmond rule where you can block the appointment in the Senate. You actually can't. That was Strom Thurmond being a fucking asshole is what that was. And trying to prevent, trying to prevent someone being nominated to the Supreme Court because he didn't like them. Okay, that is not an actual rule. It's not an actual law. It's just an opinionated type thing. So what's going to happen here is this man's been appointed by the president, and the Senate is going to dick around and say, well, we're not going to confirm it until after the election. Well, who gives a good goddamn who and what you confirm? The fact is, the Constitution says he can be appointed. He's been appointed. Deal with it. Even Scalia would be okay with it. Even Scalia would be okay with the fact that he's being appointed in an election year, which, oh, that's unprecedented. It's only happened once before. Actually, it's happened numerous times once before, one of them actually being Scalia.
Yep. I mean, they just need to. Now, if the Senate wants to decide or decline his the nomination, that's fine. But just delaying it continuously is no. They need to deal with it. They need to either say yes or no. That's the way it needs to be.
Pretty much.
Mm. I have no more words because it's that simple. Just like the Democratic race.
It actually is simple. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's what are you gonna do? Are you gonna bitch and moan? I mean, come on now. Are we gonna have a functioning government or are we gonna have a stupid government? Because see, here's the thing. Realistically, the reason that the Republican held Senate is wanting to delay it so much is so they can have more power. Okay. Well, let's be genuine about this. If the race for president comes down to Trump or Hillary, Hillary will beat him. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how many racists and people that you're afraid of get out to vote, even though the Republicans are actually able to field more voters this time. Hillary will still win. Look at her margins in the states that she's carried over Bernie, who has definitely got the popular vote behind him. Just look at that. Okay, she has done one thing and done that one thing well, and that is tying herself to Obama. Uh, a lot of people who liked Obama have instantaneously switched to liking her just because of the close association that the two have. So she'll beat Trump. She really will. We'll probably have another Democrat in the White House, and I'm sure it's going to be her. Okay, uh, that that that, that's being realistic. Um, so the options are either let Obama make his nomination and go ahead and don't be dicks about it and try and hold it off or delay it or say, no, we can't let you do that.
Especially considering this is a rather Republican-friendly election.
Yes, I mean, if you look at his history, in fact, it was Orrin Hatch who stood up in front of the Senate and said, look, goddammit. Well, he didn't say, look, goddammit, but you get the idea. He was like, look, uh, there's really no one else. There's no one in this room who can make an argument against this man. Just do your job and let it go through. Orrin Hatch said this. A Republican said this about uh, Judge Garland. So yeah, just let him go through. What's so difficult about doing your job? I mean, especially if you're a constitutional conservative who believes in what the Constitution says. It says the president shall appoint. So move the fuck on already.
Yeah.
Kind of like Benghazi, and I mention this because it's something I can actually attack Hillary with. Because again, I don't like her. I would never vote for her. But over the weekend, she made a stupid statement. She was being asked about Benghazi. Now, I mean, of course, even stupider than her defense in her hearing about Benghazi, when she said, "Why does it even matter?" About the 4 people being killed. Uh, she's now changed this to saying that we never lost a single person in Benghazi. Well, that's true. We didn't lose a single person. We lost 4.
And this is why we still hope that Bernie will win. This is why.
Yeah, because we're faced with Mrs. Clinton. Yay! 4 more years
Or
of Obama.
Mr. Trump. Or Trump.
4 more years of Obama, or 4
Or
years of,
Trump.
or 4 years of Hitler and Mussolini's baby.
America, you
Yeah.
will fall into new lows.
Yeah. And see, since Nick likes to end on depressing notes because he is an asshole, that's where we're going to end.
Hey, my last thing I was talking about was how cool summoning old gods to kick your ass would be. You're the one that switched to the depressing note.
No, well, see, you feel that we have to have a sad, like low note to end on, so yeah, death to America at this point, pretty much, is what we're dealing with. Yeah.
I didn't say we were dying. I just said we reached new lows. We reached new lows.
Yeah. So anyway, uh, we'll be back on Friday. I actually still need to get a hold of Brandon, uh, and see if he'll be our guest then. But if he's not, like I said, we'll be back on Friday. Please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook, tell Nick how much you hate him, and please remember to voice your concerns over Nick being the future robotic overlord of the United States.
I'm not going to be a robotic overlord. I'm just going to be an overlord. Please put your praise and appreciation for my guidance in the comments. Goodbye, everyone.
Cyborg for president. Bye, everybody.